Yeah, Janelle, you actually took a trip to Pensum to find out about their, well, I call it the vampire facial, but they actually have a different name for it there.
Yes, it's called the PRP facial, the plasma-rich platelet. Platelet-rich plasma, rather, facial. And it's a new procedure, very exciting. So we went down to Pensum Clinic, like you said, to find out more. Take a look. So, Dr. Kayam, we're really excited this morning to speak about new stem cell procedures being offered on island. Now, Pensum is the only sort of organization or clinic here in Cayman that's certified to provide procedures involving stem cells. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, so tell us about what sorts of services you offer here to the public.
So one of the things that we do is microneedling with PRP. So microneedling is using a vibrating needle that has 12 prongs that will create multiple small punctures in the skin. We numb the skin so that it's comfortable. And once the skin is numb and we've created the holes, we use what's called PRP. It stands for platelet-rich plasma. We've drawn blood from the patient and we spin it to separate the red blood cells from the white blood cells from the platelets, and we keep that platelet concentrate called PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and that is applied to the face after those multiple holes are created, and it gets absorbed into the tissues, and all the natural inflammatory response that can stimulate collagen gets absorbed through the pores and allows the skin to become rejuvenated. It causes skin tightening, new collagen production. It really gives a nice glow to the skin after the procedure.
Right, okay, so you're getting a little bit of help with your natural, kind of your body's functions that it already performs. It's kind of
exactly. It's your own tissue. It's your own material that's actually stimulating the collagen production.
And people sometimes colloquially refer to this as the vampire facial.
That's right. Yes, and I said that's a term that I don't like because vampire is not attractive,
right?
And it's not a facelift. Some people say vampire facelift, but the idea is we are using people's own blood, although we remove the red blood cells, but we're using their own product, their own blood product, to stimulate collagen in their own skin, and it gives great results.
Okay, so you mentioned the results. Tell us a little bit more about what you've seen for patients both abroad but also here in the Cayman Islands.
So it's very good for multiple things, and there's different ways to use it, but it can be used for acne scars, it can be used for hyperpigmentation or brown spots. It can also be used for some skin laxity in some places. It will help to make their the skin tighter and make the skin just smoother and more even with less visible lines. So there's different kinds of ways that it can be used, but it can work for all of those things.
Okay, so that sounds like you're really catering to patients who have a number of different concerns. You know, sometimes you look in the mirror and you think, that's not quite how I want that to look. So they can come and see you all here at Pensum.
Exactly.
So what other services do you provide in addition to the PRP?
Facial fat transfer is one of my favorite procedures because as we get older, we lose facial fat volume. And one way to address that is to put filler in. But with filler, you're usually limited to maybe 1 cc, 1.5, 2 cc's, whereas with fat, we can go up to 30, 40, 50 cc's if we need to. And the big benefit of fat is that it contains our own stem cells. So the adipose-derived stem cells are in the fatty tissue. And so once we re-inject the fat, and we have, basically we'll mark people beforehand, we have no limit as to how much we can use. We inject the fat, and as it heals, the stem cells are in the fat, rejuvenate the skin, and it's pretty dramatic. I mean, fine lines, freckles, brown spots, I mean, those things just lift off, and the skin has this glow of what their skin looked like maybe 20 years before. Wow. It's a wonderful, wonderful procedure. And it's their own tissue. We use their own fatty tissue, so same thing. It's their own tissue that is just moved from one place to the other, and as it goes into the new place, it just stimulates the collagen and rejuvenates the skin in a really, really nice way.
Okay, fantastic. So it sounds like you would then work with the patient to decide, okay, where are we taking that fat from, and talk them through the procedure as well.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, some people have more fat accumulation on their flanks, sometimes it's on the hip. We can always find it, and the procedure is done awake, so there's no anesthesia. It's just local anesthesia. It's fairly painless, and the harvesting of the fat cells is done after we numb the area completely. Then we process the fat, and then we put it back into some small syringes, and then we inject it the same way we would inject a regular filler, except that we have no limitation on the volume. Okay, very exciting stuff. It sounds like, you know, as we continue to learn more and more in sort of scientific research about how the body works, we're starting to introduce really exciting procedures, and Pensum is bringing that to the Cayman Islands. Very exciting stuff.
Thank you, Dr.
my
Dr.
pleasure.
Kayam, for having us in the clinic today, and we look forward to speaking with you about additional procedures that you have here.
Thank you, my pleasure.
All right. Stay with us, everyone. There's more Daybreak coming up right now.
So that was really cool. I mean, I've seen, like you said, the colloquial term, the vampire facial, on social media. The Kardashians, they use it.
Yes.
And, they've had it on different news outlets as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool to kind of hear about the science behind it.
Yes, yeah, it was very interesting. And people that I've spoken to about it have mixed reviews. Like, it seems like it's kind of painful, and it looks a little scary
It
because
does
you
look a
do
bit
have
scary.
some blood. But we actually spoke to Nicole, who was our lovely model / patient who was getting a service done with the vampire facial, who you saw in the video. We followed up with her a few weeks after her procedure, and she has some feedback for us. Take a look.
It has been 7 weeks since I had the procedure. Just to give you a background on the healing process, it was about 3 days where my face was red and a couple little scratches, but besides that, nothing much. About 4 weeks, I started to really kind of see the difference in the size of my pores, which was what my main concern was. I also had maybe 2 sun marks, and they had totally disappeared by 4 weeks. So I'm at 7 weeks now, and I would say it's about 40% difference in my pore size. And Dr. Kayam had said that it would take about 2 to 3 times to probably have them fully disappear or shrink to the point of where they're pretty unnoticeable. So I'm going to have another one in December and see how that looks.
All right, so she's going back for a second time,
Yeah.
obviously happy with the results. So it's interesting to see, because I think these are procedures that you kind of have to take on an individual basis, which Dr. Kayam also spoke to us about. He's very individualistic in his approach, and they work with you to make sure that you get the right number of procedures for your skin and for your concerns. Nicole spoke about her pore size, but some other people may have other concerns.
I think that's definitely super important. I mean, anyone who's ever had problem skin, they've had to go through different types of procedures, different types of medication, or just diet, just to sort of, pin it up against them and see how that works for them.
Right. So we spoke about some other procedures that Pensum offers, so we have those on your screen for you. You can contact them at health@pensum.pro, and Dr. Kayam will be back on island in December 9th to 14th, if you're interested in reaching out to them.